Hello, my name is CarX82 and welcome back to my tutorial series. Today I'm going to be going over the steam age boilers and the multi-block bronze boiler. So first off, you've gotten to the steam age. First thing you're probably going to want to do is start producing steam to get your machines running. So what are we going to do? We're probably going to craft the small steam coal boiler. It's the very first one you can craft. It's 5 bronze, some furnace, and some bricks. Pretty easy to craft. And basically what we're going to do is put some water in this. Give it 8 buckets of water. And we're going to give it some coal. And that will start burning coal, as we can see. Now the UI of this, the in and out, is the containers of fluids that you're putting in the system. The left bar is steam, the middle one is water, and the right one is the heat. This will slowly start to rise. We'll see it in a second. As it gets hotter, so there we go. There's a little bit of a red bar there. This will go all the way up and fill up. And it'll start producing steam. Now there's 2 variants of this, small steel coal boiler and the high pressure steam coal boiler. They do exactly the same thing. But this one is made from steel and produces steam a bit faster and gets hotter than the small steam coal boiler. So there we go. We'll just kind of let those run and see how much steam they produce. Now another one you can produce or craft in the steam age is this small steam lava boiler. And as you can tell by the name, this actually uses lava to produce steam. So there we go, we'll put our water in, and for this one, I'm also going to put some lava in. And we'll do the same with the high pressure version, and those will start heating up. So if we go back to this, now we can see this is definitely getting much higher. It needs to get up to 100 degrees Celsius. There's no indication on the UI what temperature it is, but it's about right around there. I think this goes up 500 degrees, so I'm guessing about 20% of the way will be 100 degrees. And as we can see, this has already reached 100 degrees, so this is probably about 1,000 degrees total, so 10% would be 100 degrees Celsius. So as we can see, this is producing steam, and it's filling up this tank on the left. Now there that one goes. But as we can see, this one is heating up faster. It's a better machine. It requires more expensive materials though. Alright, so those are those two. Lava and coal boiler. Now the coal boiler can use any sort of burnable substance you have. So wood or anything will go in here. But coal is usually the first thing you want to burn. Alright, so we have one more. The steam solar boiler. And I place this over here so we can see something. Now, if we look at this, it's in the sun. This is the sun thing. All we need to do is add water to get this to produce steam. But if we look at this, this has already been heating up. So what happens when you add water to something that is really hot? It blows up. It's full of steam. It instantly turns to steam and blows up the machine. So you cannot add any water to a hot machine. You can add it beforehand, but not when it's hot. So be careful when you're adding these machines, or make sure they don't run out of water, because they will explode if they're hot if you try to add water to a hot machine. But anyway, so the solar boiler obviously needs the sun. This is the indication that it's getting sun. If I do nighttime, you can see that's turned off, and it'll rapidly drop in temperature and stop producing steam. But we'll leave that on, and this will slowly start heating up and producing steam like the other ones, but at a much slower rate. It doesn't use any fuel, so it's a free source other than the water, so it's going to produce, for balance purposes, less steam. And it's a little more expensive. This one actually requires silver plate, so you can't get that right away. But for the most part, I'm going to focus on the small steam boilers. Now we're producing steam. And I'm actually going to put some flue ducts at the back so we can see this. If you connect the flue duct or a Gregtech pipe, I'm going to use the flue ducts because they are see-through, but you can use any sort of pipes. Any face except for the bottom will output steam, so if I connect this, we'll automatically see that it's filled with steam. And I am actually going to do these separately, and I'm actually going to attach a tank so we can watch the amount go up. So there we go. And we can see how fast these produce and we can compare. Alright, so first thing we got to do is figure out how we want to get water in this. Can we, yeah, we can click on a bucket and fill over and over and over again. But you can't right-click on a button, the coiler. I'm sorry, you can't right-click with a bucket on the boiler because it'll just open up the UI. So you have to get a bucket of water, put it in the slot, and over and over and over again. That is a big pain. So what we're going to do is get a pump. And to do that, there is actually a pump in the steam age. Steam pump right here. If we look at the tooltip, pumps fluid every 3 seconds or 120 ticks. Every 6 seconds, or 120 ticks, sorry, and it has a fluid capacity of 4,000 millibuckets. Now we can go ahead and place this down. What we're going to do is place this over any source of water here. And the output is for the water. I'm actually going to place it this one, I think. Alright. So the steam pump is there. It's going to be over the water. We're going to face this way. The square output is where the water comes out of. And we actually have to place steam into it to get it to start pumping. So if I add a fluid duct here, it's not going to be outputting any water. But if I connect it here, that'll start filling up with steam, and a pipe should come out the bottom. When it gets enough steam, I'm actually exporting it all into the tank, so why don't I break that for now. And supply this with enough steam, and the thing will come out the bottom and it'll start pumping water. It doesn't make a liar out of me. Alright, there it is. And it'll slowly, now that it's getting steam, there it goes. It's starting to pump liquid, and as we can see, there's water in the pipes. Now, one of the things we can do is, pumping the liquid. We think, okay, yeah, let's go and hook this up to this steam cold boiler here to fill it up with water. So we'll just do that. And we filled it up with water. And uh-oh, there is steam in there now. What's going on here? We got steam and then it's emptying with water. The problem here is that the steam will output from any side of this coal boiler. So in order to stop this, because sometimes it will get clogged up and we don't want that to happen, what we're going to do is go underneath and supply it with water underneath. Because steam cannot output on the bottom. So as we can see, that's just continually supplying the steam in the steam pump, and it is filling up the boiler with water. Now this does 1,000 buckets every 6 seconds. It's quite slow. But that is enough, plenty for these machines, considering they only go through, as we can see, it would need to go through 1,000 millibuckets every 6 seconds to need the pump. So the pump This lowly little steam pump can supply water for a whole bunch of different solar boilers. So you really only need one to supply your array of steam coal boilers or lava boilers. So I'm going to just do that. So we look at this small one, we have 42 buckets, 105,000 buckets. So it's producing around twice as much. And then this one is producing steam as well now, so let's drop that. And we can throw that on top. And as we can see, it's going up about 80 millibuckets. Whereas this one is going up much, much quicker. So yeah, these are easier. You just have to supply them with water, but you have to make sure it never turns to night, otherwise they will completely shut off, which I can actually show that right now. And we can see how fast this drops. So as soon as it turns to night, this thing will shut off and stop producing steam. So it takes a little more babysitting, making sure you're sleeping every time. Alright, so that is basics of the steam boilers, the small 1-block versions. Now there is actually another one, and what that is going to be the large bronze boiler. Now this is a much bigger investment, so we'll take a look at that one. You're going to need these bronze firebox casings. So I'm just going to go ahead and start building this. You're going to need a couple input hatches. So I'm going to do an input hatch there, an input hatch there. You can also use an import bus if you want to do a solid fuel. So how about we do that as well. You're going to need the Alonge bronze boiler computer, or controller, not computer. We're going to need some bronze pipe casings, 2 in the middle. And then the rest, we're going to bronze machine casings. And just surround this. And last but not least, we needed a place for the steam to come out. So we'll add that. Alright, so what this is going to do, as we can see, it's a large bronze boiler. It can heat up to 500 degrees Celsius. Output, we don't know how much it's outputting yet, but what this needs is either a source and a water source. Source of fuel and a water source. So we can, let's see, there's the input hatch. Let's just connect that up to our water line here. And there we go, that'll fill up. Now we can use a bunch of different fuels here. If you want, we can use, say, charcoal. You're producing a lot of charcoal in your coke oven. Let's put it in here. Alright, turns on, starts heating up. But as we can see, this is going through charcoal very, very quickly. And at this point in the game, you probably aren't going to be able to produce charcoal fast enough to feed this thing. Now, as soon as it runs out, it's going to turn off and the heat's going to start dropping. So, one good fuel source early in the game is actually going to be light fuel. I'm just going to throw some light fuel in there, get that going, and there we go, it turns on. This is actually not in JEI. If I look at this, it doesn't show up as a semi-fluid. What this burns off of is semi-fluid fuels. If I look at the boiler, semi-fluid fuels, so we have fish oil, seed oil, creosote, biomass, oil, sulfuric heavy fuel, and heavy fuel. But it does run off light fuel, it just does not say light fuel in JEI. And that's probably, at this stage of the game, probably the best fuel to be running this off of. So what this is going to do is heat up, and once again, once it hits 100 degrees Celsius, it's going to start producing steam. And there we go. We will wait for this to get to 100 degrees. Alright, and we got to 100 and it immediately started producing steam. And as we can see, it is slowly ticking up until it gets to 500 degrees. And we can see producing steam, and we are piping it out into our black hole tank. So as we can see, this is doing really fast compared to the other machines. Now these, it's been some time. Some of these have run out of steam, or water, but as we can see, it's going up decently fast. I'm using some of it to the pump, obviously, but compared to this, it's much slower. So if you really want to up your production of steam, you're going to want to get the bronze boiler. Now at this point, you're asking, what are you going to use all this steam for? The main thing is LV turbines, or the steam machines that we use in the steam age. So you can use your steam macerator and your steam compressor. All these can run off the steam boiler, but the main thing you're probably going to be using this for is to create LV power. And all you have to do is hook it up to the line that has the steam coming out, and there we go. It'll power that up and you'll be producing LV power. Now the benefit of the bronze boiler over, say, these small ones is, if we look at the steam turbines, for every 1 EU you're producing, you need 2 millibuckets of steam. So to run at full power, this basic steam turbine needs to run at 64 millibuckets of steam. This one's 256 or 1024. So as we can see, right now we're producing enough steam for 4 turbines. I'm just going to break that to run at full steam. And we could probably hook that up to a battery buffer. And let's grab a bunch of these. So if I put this right there, and then I can run my tin cables. These each put out 1 amp, so you can use the 2. Unfortunately, there's no way to get that to not connect there, so if you want that to not look like that, you need to move it up 1. But as we can see, the steam machines are running at full steam. Let's put some batteries in here and we'll see. It is powering up these batteries, and we are not running out of steam here, and we are producing 375, so we can actually even put more steam turbines down if we want. And if we look at this, it is not going through light fuel very fast at all. So get your soul sand setups and start melting down that soul sand for oil, and you can distill it into light fuel, and you have a wonderful source of electricity right here, just off this one boiler. We're getting up to 400 and so on and so forth. Now one problem though, as we can see, is we are not emptying out this steam boiler right here. It's producing more steam than we can pull out with the hardened fluid ducts. And I actually set up the other 3 boilers as well, so we can kind of see how much they're producing here, and we can look at this. So here's our large bronze boiler. At full temp, it's 600 millibuckets a tick. We got our steel, which is 900, 1000. This one is 2000 degrees Celsius and 1400 millibuckets a tick, and the big one is 4000 degrees Celsius and we're producing 2400 millibuckets a tick. But if we look at the black hole tanks that I set up, we have 58 million, 58 million, or 57 million, 57 million. So what this is telling me is we are wasting a lot of steam in here because it is not being pulled out fast enough. And one of the solutions to doing this is to actually add more ways to get the steam out. I'm just going to break this for now. But if we do this, the fluid the steam won't come out the side, it'll only come out the side with the square on it, but we can actually get it out with a servo as well. Right, so now we are pulling out steam from two sides. It's 600 millibuckets per connection, so that's 1200 millibuckets. In theory, we should be pulling out enough, which we are. So now it's emptying out, we are getting all that steam. So with these large boilers, they produce a whole lot of steam, but if you are not getting the steam out, if you're like bottlenecking it, you're actually wasting your fuel, because it's still going to burn all the fuel, but you're not getting all the steam out. So if we look at the Gregtech pipes, you can actually see how much millibuckets per tick, and I believe these are being actually buffed in a upcoming update. So as we can see, this is producing 900. We would have to do a 1600 titanium pipe. So when you're in the steam age, it is a bit hard to get all the steam out until we can actually get, if we look at these, let me replace the fluid ducts with these. And these will pull out all the steam from all of them, even the best one. It's pulling out enough steam. And now we can see how much faster they're going. But yeah, for the most part, that is most of the things you need to know about the boilers. My main suggestion, though, is to use, I'm using diesel in here, cetane boosted diesel, just because it burns longer, but light fuel at this point in the game is more than adequate, and it produces enough steam for a bunch of different turbines. So you can either use the light fuel if you want. You can put it in a diesel generator if you want. So you could plop that down, put your light fuel in it. There we go, and this will produce LV power for you, and it'll burn at a certain amount. I don't remember the exact ratio that it burns. Actually, we can look at it now that I'm thinking about it. So every 15 seconds it'll burn 32 millibuckets. Or you could turn the light fuel into steam and you can run a whole lot more steam turbines off of this. So you can run almost, you need 64 millibuckets each, so you gotta be running at least 9 to use up all that steam, otherwise the steam is going to waste. As we can see, it's still running, it's still using your fuel, but the steam is going to waste. But anyway, that's going to be it for this tutorial episode. Just a quick look at the boilers. So hopefully this was informative, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave in the comments below. I will try to answer them. And if you want to leave any suggestions for any more tutorials, I'd be more than happy to take suggestions, because I'm always looking for things to possibly explain. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.